My name is Marlyss Auster, and you're joining us on Our Ventura TV. Today I'm happy to say that we've got Melissa Baffa with us, and she's the Executive Director of Friends of Channel Coast State Parks. Welcome, Melissa.
Well, thanks. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about your organization.
Friends of Channel Coast State Parks is what we call a cooperative association. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit, but we are partnered up with the state park district. And our district stretches from McGrath State Beach in Oxnard all the way up to Gaviota State Park, which is north of Santa Barbara.
Okay. And so what is your main mission in this organization?
So cooperative associations, there's about 80 of us throughout the state, closer to 90 now. And basically, originally, we first evolved to help fill a niche in the state park system to help with education and interpretation. And over the years, the past few decades, as state parks budgets have shrunk, we've had to step up more and more to fill other needs for the parks. So in addition to supporting education and interpretation, we also do a lot of fundraising for things like capital projects. We also recruit volunteers to help support programs or to help maintain the parks. And then we also can help to advocate for the parks and the park system, whether that's with elected leaders, the business community, or just individuals from the community.
So tell us about a couple of the organized events that you do that you seek volunteers for.
So we have 5 volunteer service events that we perform throughout the year, and we spread those throughout the district. And those are, half-day events where we bring people in and perform a variety of maintenance projects. So it could be everything from painting to landscaping to doing beach cleanups. So we have all sorts of things there that we really help to, just do whatever it is that that particular park needs for us. We also do special events. So just recently in May, we hosted the Ventura Beach Festival for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And those take a lot of volunteers. And volunteers can do all sorts of things from scanning tickets to pouring beer. So,
right.
And everything in between. So those are a day when we definitely need a lot of volunteers as well.
And so how do you actually decide what events? I mean, I know that the beach cleanup I have heard about. My family has participated, very proud to do so as well. But how do you decide what initiatives and events that you're going to plan throughout the year that the community can engage and get involved?
So really we work closely with state parks. My office is actually within the state parks district headquarters.
Oh, okay.
And so we really work closely with them to ask them what are their needs. We often though do have people from the community come to us. We have groups that come to us, a group of CBs or Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or church groups, so on and so forth, that say, hey, we have a service project we'd like to do. Would you be interested in partnering? So sometimes it's us initiating it, sometimes it's state parks, and sometimes it comes from the community.
And how long has your organization been together, been a nonprofit actually?
This is our 30th anniversary. Really
wow.
exciting. I know.
Well,
and what's
congratulations.
Cool, thank you. And what's cool about that too is that it's also State Park's 150th anniversary this year. So we're sharing that anniversary.
Is there going to be like a celebration?
There's all sorts of celebrations all year long, and we're actually currently working on some more projects beyond the Ventura Beach Festival to help celebrate this 30th anniversary, and also, connect with our community, because we really want to make sure that people know we're here and we're doing what we do to serve the parks.
Right, right. Well, tell me one of your favorite projects that you've done to actually serve the parks that the residents may not know it was actually you behind the scenes or your organization that we're benefiting from.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, the volunteer service events, I love those so much. I love getting kids out in particular and families. To me, that's really important because I love to see the community have ownership of the parks.
Right.
But we're also, currently we've contributed some funds to the renovation of the Campfire Center at Refugio State Beach. And so that project is really exciting because that particular Campfire Center has been under disrepair for about 5 or 6 years now. So it'll be really nice to get some programs back into that park.
Oh, that is exciting. Now, I know you said you work in the building with state parks. How closely connected are you on a daily basis? And because they do separate events on the state parks, right?
Yeah.
So how does that all work?
Well, now state parks, basically they have a venue that can be rented for individuals. So if people, want to come out and do the AIDS ride or the MS ride or various other events, they can rent the facility from state parks. So we don't tend to get involved in those because those are different organizations. But we do help out if parks needs us for something. So like I said, sometimes they'll come to us and say, hey, we've got this project or we've got this event that we need support. But most of the time it's us working together to figure out what we can do, what we can partner on.
Right. Wow, that is pretty cool. Besides, let's see, we've heard about the cleanups and some of the volunteer organizations. How does your nonprofit differ from some of the others? I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
But what are the biggest differences?
Similarities are pretty much the same. I mean, we've got the same kind of structure. We are a 501c3. But I would say the difference is that we kind of do have that one foot in the nonprofit world and then 1 foot in the state parks world. And so whereas a lot of nonprofits, may come up with an idea and just say, okay, we've got to execute this, let's move forward. Since we are working to serve state parks, then we do have this partner that we're partnered with that we basically say, well, we have this idea, would this work? So I would say that that's one minor difference for us. But other than that, I'd say we're very similar to other nonprofits.
So give us a visual, if you will, Melissa, on what parks you actually serve, because it's Channel's Coast.
Yes.
So take us down the coast and tell us about those different parks.
Okay. So the Channel Coast basically describes the strip of land that, joins on the mainland that joins up with the Santa Barbara Channel. So that's why we call that the Channel Coast. So the state parks along the coast in Ventura and Santa Barbara counties, starting with McGrath State Beach and Auster, moving our way northward, San Buenaventura State Beach, that's where my headquarters are. Then Emma Wood State Beach, Carpinteria State Beach, El Capitan State Beach, Refugio State Beach, and Gaviota State Park. And then up in the hills above Santa Barbara, there's also Chumash Painted Cave State Historic Park. And then there's a couple other small properties here and there that are either joined up with the other state beaches or parks that people really know. I don't tend to usually list those off because, most people aren't familiar. Like, for example, the estuary at McGrath State Beach is actually technically a special preserve, but most people just think of that as belonging to McGrath.
Right. So how big's your team? Because that's a lot of area to cover.
Yeah, well, the district is divided. We've got the southernmost parks are divided, and then the northernmost parks are divided. But so far as our nonprofit, I'm the one and only staff member.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
You are a one-woman show.
Right. So
well, we're grateful you're here in Ventura for sure.
Yeah.
But wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot passes through my office. Yeah.
Wow. And so, being a mom and having children, I'm always eager to get my kids involved in volunteer projects. And you mentioned earlier that you really like seeing the families out there.
Yes.
Besides the cleanups, what other events or projects would be ideal for a family to get involved so that we get these children connected to their own state parks so that they can help tell the story in the future?
Absolutely. Well, we do have a couple of programs that could be really interesting for families. One is a kayak program that we run out of the Ventura Harbor. And so that is one of our new programs that we started just last summer. This year we've expanded it because it was so popular.
Right.
And we get out on the water. We've got a short lesson on land, and then we get out on the water. We've got 3 state parks lifeguards who actually accompany us on those tours. So we give a lesson in how to kayak, how to paddle, how to turn, how to, stop, how to launch and land and get back in if, heaven forbid, you should fall out.
Right.
All of those things. And then we go on a tour of the harbor and talk about what we happen to see. Luckily, we've been able to spot lots of sea lions and seals and dolphin lately, so it's been a lot of fun. And then another program that we just started this year is something called Coast Talks, and we take experts from the field and once a month and talk about something having to do with the natural history of our coast. So we've had 2 of our 3 first talks that we have scheduled currently. The first was on birds of the Channel Coast, second was on sharks, and then the third one I'm actually hosting, and it will be on life in the tide pool and how it's not all that different from our lives.
Oh my goodness, so where can we find out information on these? Because, birding is such a huge topic in our area. People love to see the birds and the different wildlife that we have, and luckily we have so much to offer.
Yes.
But yeah, the tide pools, that sounds really exciting.
Yes.
Where would I be able to find out more information on that?
So our website is a great source of information, and that's friendsofccsp.org.
Okay.
Here you can just Google Friends of Channel Coast State Parks and we'll pop up. We're also on Facebook, we're on Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest as well, so we're on all the major social media.
Okay.
But the website has a great wealth of information, and there's actually a couple of pages that have photo galleries of birds of McGrath, and then there's another photo gallery of the tide pools at Carpinteria State Beach. So specifically about those couple of really rich natural resources that we have, there's some great photographs there.
Oh, so is there a place that I can sign up so that I'm notified? Do you have any newsletters or anything?
We do, yes.
Okay.
So again, if you go to the website, or there's also a button from our Facebook page that you can sign up for our newsletter. And I always tell people I don't share email addresses and I won't clutter up your inbox. I usually only send about maybe 6 or 7 emails in a year. I send a quarterly and then a couple of bulletins here and there, but I really don't want people to hit that unsubscribe button.
Right, because it's really just about engaging.
Yes.
It's not about selling. It's about getting our community involved in our state parks, because we have so much available to us.
Yeah.
And I'm just personally thrilled about the youth programs and family events that you're creating, the One Woman Show creating, in an organization that's been around for 30 years. So happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for the new programs that you're doing to get our families involved. I know the kayaking one sounds really fun, and getting these kids on water, in the tide pools, and learning about the species that are in our Pacific are all going to help with our story of our state parks and connecting us. Yeah. So is there anything else that you'd like to tell us?
We're really looking for people from the community to get involved. State parks, the thing that's so awesome about state parks is that they mean so many different things to different people. To one family it might be just an opportunity to get out and surf and boogie board, and another family it might be hiking, or it might be fishing, or it might be just hanging out in your campsite and playing horseshoes.
Right.
And so I love the fact that you can take the very same patch of land and it means something different to everybody. So when I get that question, what I always say is, I really want to hear from people. What do they want? What do they need? Because I think we do a good job of connecting with our visitors during the summer, but I really want to hear from our local community. And what do you guys want year round? Because you're here year round, enjoying and playing in our parks. And so I want to know how we can serve our community better.
Well, thank you. I definitely will encourage everyone I know to go visit your website and get involved so that we can have that voice to you. Thank you for what you do for our community and our state parks. We appreciate you, Melissa.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today on Our Ventura TV. My name is Marlyss Auster. I look forward to seeing you next time.